Beloved chosen one, listen, heaven itself has drawn near to witness this moment. You feel it, don't you? The air around you has changed. The veil between the natural and the divine is thin, and the unseen realm leans in to observe the unveiling of God's hidden work in you. The one who once overlooked you, the one who doubted your faith, the one who whispered about your strange ways. Yes, that very family member has now seen the truth. The light of God upon you is no longer a mystery, it is a manifestation. For years, you tried to explain yourself, to defend your obedience, to justify your silence. You walked through ridicule, through the quiet ache of being misunderstood by your own blood. But heaven was watching. You didn't realize that your tears were not signs of weakness, they were sacred oil. Every heartbreak, every sigh that escaped your lips in the darkness became incense before the throne. And now, without you trying, heaven has flipped the script. The same family that once questioned your choices now senses the undeniable weight of divine favor on your life. They see peace where they expected pain. They see light where they predicted collapse. The atmosphere shifts when you enter the room, not because you changed yourself to please them, but because you allowed God to change you in private. Chosen one, what they see now is not arrogance, it is authority. You carry the fragrance of heaven. You walk in the residue of divine encounters. You speak differently because you have been in the presence of the King. You remember when they mocked you for praying too much, when they said you were doing too much for God, but now, those same words that once wounded you have become their conviction. Something inside them stirs when they see you, because your peace exposes their unrest. Your growth reminds them that they settled. Your glow reveals their shadows. Do not gloat. Do not become prideful. This moment is sacred. Heaven does not vindicate you to make you boast, it vindicates you to reveal truth. What was hidden must now be made visible so that your family might be awakened. This is the fulfillment of divine timing. What was misunderstood is now being revealed. What was resisted is now being recognized. You are the living evidence that God hides his treasures in plain sight. And the Spirit of the Lord whispers this ancient word. It is declared in the book of Micah, chapter 7, verse 8. Do not gloat over me, my enemy. Though I have fallen, I will rise. Though I sit in darkness, the Lord will be my light. You have risen. Chosen one, the very ones who thought your fall was final now see resurrection power in you. Every secret conversation that carried your name in mockery is being rewritten by heaven. Your story is no longer one of pity, it is one of prophecy fulfilled. That family member who once couldn't understand your purpose is now in tears. They feel something stirring inside, a realization that the grace they dismissed is real. Their tears are not just emotional, they are spiritual. Those tears are washing away the scales of blindness that once kept them from seeing God's glory in you. This is not coincidence. This is divine orchestration. You were meant to walk through rejection so that your restoration would become a mirror for them. They will see God's mercy through your transformation. They will see the reality of his power through your peace. So stand still. Let your silence speak volumes. Let the light in your eyes be the sermon they cannot ignore. You don't need to prove yourself anymore. The presence of God in you is proof enough. And now, heaven gives you this assignment: carry humility with power. Let love be your language. Do not fight those who once hurt you. Instead, let forgiveness flow like living water. This is how heaven wins hearts, not through argument, but through grace. Because when they see that grace in you, their hearts will break. The truth will dawn on them: you were never the problem. You were the prophecy. And they will know that the one they rejected was the chosen vessel all along. This is your hour of unveiling. The mantle that was invisible is now visible. The crown that was hidden in the secret place now gleams in the open. Heaven itself testifies, "This one is mine." So pause, take this in. Feel the weight of what's happening in your spirit. This moment is holy. If you feel the confirmation deep inside that a family member's eyes are opening, that the truth about you is finally being seen, declare it with faith. Comment 777 below as your prophetic act, proclaiming, "My light is seen, my truth revealed." And before you go, like, share, and subscribe so this divine flow continues to reach every chosen one still waiting to be seen. The whispers have changed. Chosen one. The same voices that once carried your name in mockery now carry it in awe. They don't know how to explain it, but something has shifted. There's a reverence in their tone now, a softness that wasn't there before. It's as if the heavens themselves have placed a hush upon their lips. What used to be gossip has turned into quiet observation. They are watching you silently, carefully, spiritually aware that something divine surrounds you. They remember the days when they laughed at your faith, when your prayers sounded foolish to them. They thought your fasting was strange, your silence dramatic, your boundaries unnecessary. They thought you were isolating yourself out of pride. But now they see it clearly, you were being set apart, what they called loneliness. Heaven called preparation. It began subtly, didn't it? The way their conversations paused when you entered the room. The way their eyes lingered on you a little longer, as if searching for something beyond flesh and words. The way they began to notice peace in your presence. Not the kind that can be faked, but the kind that radiates from someone who has walked through fire and survived without the smell of smoke. You have changed, and they cannot deny it. They see the weight of wisdom behind your calm. They see a glow that no material thing could give. They sense authority in your silence, a spiritual gravity that draws conviction from their own hearts. They are realizing what heaven has always known: you carry divine evidence. Do not take their silence for ignorance. Sometimes the greatest repentance begins with quiet astonishment. They are realizing that what they once mocked is now what they need. They are beginning to whisper different words now. Words like, maybe they were right. Maybe God really was with them. Maybe we judged too soon. These are not just human realizations. They are heavenly awakenings. Your endurance has become their revelation. Every moment you held your tongue, every time you chose peace over reaction, every night you cried in secret instead of cursing in anger. Heaven recorded it all. And now, heaven plays it back before their eyes. What they see in you now is not the same person they used to know. They see resurrection. They see the fruit of divine pruning. You were broken, yes, but not destroyed. You were pressed, yes, but never crushed. Every wound became a window through which God's glory could shine. The Spirit of God is softening hearts, one by one. Conviction is entering rooms that used to hold contempt. Even those who are not speaking yet feel it deep inside. Something tells them, you were wrong about this one. That voice is not guilt, it's grace. Grace is rewriting your reputation. Grace is shifting the narrative in your favor. And while they are whispering in awe, heaven is whispering to you, stay still, stay humble, stay surrendered, because this is not just about your vindication, it's about their salvation. God is using your transformation as a mirror to awaken sleeping souls. What they see in you is what God wants to birth in them. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 1, verse 5. Look among the nations and watch, be utterly astounded, for I am doing something in your days that you would not believe, even if you were told. Yes, chosen one, Even your family cannot believe what they are witnessing. You were the quiet one, the underestimated one, the forgotten one, and now they see miracles moving in your life. They see peace that cannot be explained. They see grace that cannot be denied. Do not let pride steal this holy moment. Let awe remain. Let compassion guide you. The same way heaven showed mercy to you in your hidden season, you must now show mercy to them in their awakening. Because what you carry is not just for you, it's for them too. They are seeing the truth about you, but soon they will see the truth about God through you. Their whispers will turn into worship. Their awe will turn into surrender. And their fear will turn into faith. Hold your peace, chosen one. Let the light do what words cannot. Heaven has already spoken, now the earth is just catching up. Their hearts are trembling, chosen one. Something divine is stirring beneath the surface. The same table that once held division now feels like sacred ground. Heaven is touching their conscience, and they don't even have the words for it. Let the Spirit finish what He started. Don't rush the process. Revelation blooms in silence before it becomes confession. Soon, one voice will break the quiet, hesitant at first, but honest. I see it now. They'll say, "You were right. God really is with you." And in that moment, tears will replace tension. What pride built will crumble, and what love planted will rise. The miracle won't be loud, it will be holy, gentle, and undeniable. You tried to hide it, didn't you? Chosen one. You thought if you spoke less and prayed quieter and kept your glow contained, maybe they wouldn't notice them, but heaven had other plans. This is the moment of spiritual unmasking, the unveiling of everything God placed within you that could no longer be concealed. The same people who once misread your quietness are now seeing the authority in your stillness. For so long you walked like a secret among your own. You downplayed your gifts to make others comfortable, dimmed your light to fit their expectations, and even questioned whether your discernment was real. But the spirit inside you refused to stay silent. It began to burn, like fire shut up in your bones. It demanded expression, demanded truth. You were never meant to blend in, you were meant to be revealed. You were the intercessor in disguise, the prophet they never recognized, the peacemaker who absorbed storms just to protect the peace of the house. You bore the weight of spiritual warfare that wasn't even yours because God trusted you to handle it. What they saw as weakness was actually intercession. What they called overreaction was revelation. Heaven gave you sensitivity because you were a guardian of atmospheres. And now, everything that was hidden is coming into the light, not for your glory, but for God's. The family sees the difference. The neighbors feel it. Even strangers sense it. You carry something unexplainable, something that cannot be mimicked or manufactured. The anointing on you has matured. The oil has been tested in pain, refined through loss, and poured out through obedience. Do not be afraid of being seen now. This exposure is not humiliation, it is confirmation. God is confirming what He whispered to you long ago, that you are chosen, consecrated, and called for a time such as this. Every spiritual gift you've been carrying in secret is now being activated publicly. The prophetic dreams, the sudden discernments, the deep sense of knowing these are not coincidences. They are heaven's fingerprints on your spirit. And now, even those who doubted your connection with God can feel the reality of it. They no longer question your calling because they've seen the evidence. There's a divine fire moving through your words now. Even your presence speaks healing. When you walk into a room, arguments dissolve. When you speak, confusion clears. When you pray, peace returns. That is what happens when a hidden vessel finally stands revealed. as the apostle reminds us in his first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 10. The Spirit searches all things, even the deep things of God. You have been searching those deep things for years, quietly diving where others only skim the surface. And now, the depths you've explored in private are overflowing into public witness. The revelation was never meant to stay buried. Heaven is bringing it to the surface because someone needs the truth you carry. But remember, revelation comes with responsibility. You are not to flaunt it, but to steward it. You must handle the spotlight the same way you handled the silence, with humility and surrender. The unveiling is not about being celebrated, it's about being useful. God does not reveal you to make you famous. He reveals you to make you fruitful. Your words will now bring healing to those who once wounded you. Your example will awaken those who are still asleep. So don't shrink back. Don't apologize for what heaven is doing. What you feel inside is not pride, it's power under divine order. The spiritual unmasking is heaven's way of saying, the time for hiding is over. This revelation will divide and heal at the same time. Some will resist it, unable to handle your transformation. Others will be drawn to it, desperate to touch the grace that now overflows from you. Stay centered in love. Love will protect your revelation from corruption. Love will keep the focus on God, not self. Now, breathe deeply and remember, this is what you were made for. The light was always meant to be seen. The truth was always meant to be told. If your spirit bears witness that you've been unveiled in this season, if you know that your hidden truth can no longer be contained, then declare your agreement in faith. Comment, "I'm revealed." Say it as a testimony, not of pride, but of obedience, because revelation is not exposure for shame. It's exposure for purpose. Heaven is shining through you now. Chosen one, and the world finally sees what God saw all along. When you type, "I'm revealed," you are not boasting, you are agreeing with heaven's timing. You're declaring that you will no longer hide the gifts, the faith, or the truth placed within you. It is a spiritual yes to visibility, a surrender to divine assignment made public. Every time you comment, "I'm revealed," it becomes a prophetic echo, a signal to heaven that you accept your unveiling. Angels take notice. The atmosphere shifts. You are telling the universe, the hidden season is over, I walk now in purpose, light, and holy confidence. You remember the isolation, don't you? Chosen one. The quiet ache that settled deep within your chest when even those closest to you couldn't see who you truly were. You remember how the laughter of others sometimes sounded like thunder over your silent prayers, how their comfort in the ordinary made your difference feel like a curse. But even then, God was watching. He was using the loneliness as his classroom, teaching you endurance in a way no human affirmation ever could. Those who have never been misunderstood cannot understand the power of divine solitude. It is the space where heaven speaks most clearly. You were not abandoned. You were separated. Every closed door, every unanswered call, every night you sat wondering why you didn't fit anywhere, those moments were invitations to intimacy with God. While you thought you were being pushed out, he was drawing you in. There were days when your prayers felt like whispers against stone. You wondered if God heard you at all, yet deep inside, a small flame refused to die. That flame was hope, planted by the Spirit himself, saying, "Stay. Don't give up. This silence has purpose." And though you didn't realize it then, that hope was building spiritual muscle inside you. When people distanced themselves, you thought it was rejection. In truth, it was redirection. Heaven was rearranging your circle so that your voice would not be diluted by doubt. The fewer people who understood you, the clearer you could hear God. Every misunderstanding was a pruning, every tear a cleansing. You learned to walk with invisible companions, angels who watched as you prayed in the dark, who gathered your tears like rare jewels. Those moments shaped the strength now shining in you. Isolation wasn't punishment. It was the forge that tempered your faith. Do you remember when you tried to explain your visions or spiritual dreams and saw the confusion in their eyes? You were speaking the language of heaven to ears tuned only to earth. You weren't crazy, you were chosen. God had to separate you to preserve the purity of the message inside you. Some revelations cannot survive the noise of unbelief. There's a beauty in loneliness that few understand. It is in solitude that heaven downloads blueprints for destiny. When everyone else was distracted, you were being constructed. While others sought attention, you sought alignment. You learned to find companionship in stillness, strength in silence, and courage in surrender. And through it all, you were never truly alone. Even in your lowest moments, when tears stained your pillow and silence felt suffocating, God whispered softly, "I am here." You didn't need a crowd because you had communion. He was closer in your pain than people ever were in your joy. It was in isolation that you discovered your true identity. Away from the noise of opinions, you heard your purpose clearly. You learned that your worth was not tied to applause, your peace not dependent on agreement, and your power not defined by validation. Every lonely night was a classroom. Every unanswered message was mercy. God was weaning you from the need for constant approval so that when the day of revelation came, you would stand unshaken by praise or criticism. You now understand that silence was His protection, not His absence. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31 and verse 8. The Lord Himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Those words were not written for ancient ears alone, they were written for moments like yours. The same God who guided Moses through the wilderness was guiding you through your nights of invisibility. The wilderness was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to define you. Now that you look back, you can see it. The loneliness didn't kill you, it purified you. The rejection didn't break you, it revealed you. Every person who left only made space for divine presence. Every silence became a sanctuary. And now, when you see those who once misunderstood you beginning to recognize your light, you realize something deeper. You were never waiting for them to see you. You were waiting for you to see yourself through God's eyes. That revelation changes everything. You no longer resent the isolation. You honor it. You realize that without those quiet years, the strength you carry now would not exist. You were refined in obscurity to shine in clarity. So breathe, chosen one. The season of solitude was not wasted. It built your wings. The world may have turned its back, but heaven turned its face toward you. And when no one else clapped, the angels stood in awe, whispering, "They're learning to fly." You are not alone, and you never were. Isolation was heaven's invitation, not hell's rejection. You walked through the desert, and now rivers flow from your spirit. The shift in the atmosphere is undeniable now. Chosen one, you can feel it before you even speak. The room seems to hold its breath when you enter, as if heaven itself leans closer to listen. The once cold conversations now carry warmth. Hearts that were closed begin to open. What was hidden in tension has been transformed into quiet reverence. Your presence releases peace because your light has matured. You are no longer just enduring, you are influencing. The people who once resisted your spirit are now drawn to it. They can't explain why, but they sense that being near you feels like being near safety. The storms that once raged in your family seem to calm when you speak. The same table that once held arguments now holds moments of reflection and repentance. God has changed the atmosphere through you. But here's the truth: this peace didn't arrive overnight. It was forged in your hidden nights of prayer. In those hours you wept silently, asking heaven to fix what you could not. Those prayers were not ignored. Every tear you shed became a drop of oil, poured over the altar of your home. That's why the atmosphere has changed, because someone dared to intercede when no one else would. Chosen one, don't underestimate what you carry. The very air around you testifies that something divine is present. The spiritual climate shifts wherever you go, because you bring the scent of heaven with you. And just as light naturally overcomes darkness, your presence naturally exposes and heals. But understand this too: such light requires tending. Just like a candle must be protected from the wind to keep burning, your flame must be guarded through prayer, community, and generosity of spirit. Light grows stronger when shared. When you pour into others, whether through encouragement, prayer, or support, you are not losing energy. You are multiplying it. The law of heaven is simple: what you give from a pure heart never leaves you empty. That's why, if this message has touched you, if you felt something awaken deep within, you are invited, not obligated, to become part of its light. Every share, every subscription, every word you spread is like another candle being lit. The more candles, the brighter the night. When you like, you whisper to heaven. Yes, this word reached me. When you share, it's as though you lift your own torch and pass the fire forward. When you subscribe, you build a house of light where your spirit can return to be strengthened again and again. And for those who feel led, there is another kind of giving, a sacred kind. Some choose to donate, not out of duty, but as an offering of gratitude. Think of it like pouring oil into the lamp that still burns after you leave. It keeps the glow alive for another weary soul scrolling in the dark, waiting for a sign. It is never demanded. It is never a condition. It is always a choice, a whisper between you and God. Because generosity is not about money, it's about alignment. You're not buying favor, you're partnering with purpose. Your gift, however small or large, becomes a seed of light that travels further than you imagine, touching hearts you'll never meet, reaching souls you'll never know, shining into corners where hope once died. When you give, you become part of the unseen network of angels holding lamps in a darkened world. So if your heart stirs, if your spirit says yes, respond in the way peace leads you. Give not because you're asked to, but because your soul recognizes home when it sees the light. As the word of God declares in the book of Proverbs, chapter 11, verse 25, a generous soul will prosper. Whoever refreshes others will be refreshed. So refresh others. Chosen one, let your heart stay open, your faith stay generous, and your light stay burning. Before you go, remember, like this message, to keep the flame visible. Share it so another heart can find warmth. Subscribe to stay within this circle of light. And if you feel led, donate freely as one pouring oil into a lamp that never stops glowing. Together we become living torches, each spark joining another until the whole horizon gleams with hope. Every seed of light you release, whether through prayer, words, or giving, returns multiplied. Heaven never forgets a heart that chooses to share. Each act of kindness you release today becomes tomorrow's shield of favor. What you nurture in secret, God magnifies in public until your life itself becomes testimony and flame. So keep your candle lifted, chosen one. The world may seem dark, but your glow is proof that heaven still breathes among us. Every click, every share, Every quiet yes keeps divine fire alive. You are not just supporting a message, you are sustaining a movement of awakening souls. And when you give, it's not just a donation, it's a declaration. You're saying, let the light keep burning beyond me. Your faith becomes fuel, your love becomes warmth. One candle cannot light the whole sky, but 1,000 willing hearts can make the night look like dawn. Tears. They come suddenly now. Chosen one, sometimes in moments of silence, sometimes while you're surrounded by others who will never know the weight behind them. They are not tears of defeat, but of release. Heaven has begun to touch your family, and what once felt impossible is unfolding before your very eyes. You can feel the air shifting again, this time not only around you, but through you. It's as if heaven itself is breathing through your home. Arguments lose their sharpness, pride begins to melt, and a tenderness once lost begins to return. Those who once dismissed your prayers are now whispering, "Can you pray for me?" What used to divide now trembles before reconciliation. The Spirit of God is doing something unseen but undeniable. There's a breaking and a healing happening at once. The sound of those tears, yours and theirs, is not weakness, it is prophecy being fulfilled. These are the tears that water new beginnings. Every drop carries the power to undo years of pain, misunderstanding, and silence. You see, the tears of the chosen carry assignment. When they fall, heaven moves. When you cry, angels record. When you weep, the atmosphere shifts. You may think you're simply expressing emotion, but in truth, you're releasing intercession. Each tear is a key that unlocks generational chains. Those tears have voices. They cry out for forgiveness, restoration, and mercy. And heaven listens. The sound of your brokenness becomes a melody that calls God into the deepest places of your bloodline. This is how healing starts, not in loud miracles, but in quiet moments where hearts finally break open. And now, beloved chosen one, you begin to notice it. The same ones who could never understand your faith are now being moved by it. They watch your gentleness, your peace, your refusal to argue, and they wonder, how do they still love us after everything? That question is the beginning of repentance. Don't hold back your compassion now. Don't stop loving. You are the bridge heaven built. Every kind word, every prayer you whisper, every tear you hide is laying bricks of reconciliation between heaven and your family. The soft heart is stronger than the loud voice. The humble heart changes generations. You may never know how deep your tears go, how far their power reaches. Some will break chains you will never see. Some will heal hearts long after you've moved forward. But God sees. Heaven measures every drop and turns it into blessing. We are reminded through the writings of David in the book of Psalms, chapter 56, verse 8. You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. Yes, heaven keeps a record of every moment you've wept, every sigh, every whisper of "help me." Lord, nothing has been wasted. The bottle of tears has become the oil of healing, poured back into your life and the lives of those you love. Now the time has come for joy to flow where sorrow once lived. Your tears were not signs of weakness, they were evidence of divine endurance. Every tear was a declaration that you refused to harden your heart. Because of that, God is releasing peace that will flow through your family like a gentle river. There will be a day soon when laughter will fill the same rooms where pain once lived. The same voices that once spoke against you will speak blessings over you. The same hearts that once turned away will turn toward heaven. This is the power of holy tears. They don't just fall, they plant. So, chosen one, let them fall. Let your tears do their work. You are standing in sacred ground when you weep with love instead of bitterness. Your tears are baptizing your family in unseen grace. They are washing away years of misunderstanding and planting seeds of mercy that will bloom long after this moment. And when you feel that familiar warmth on your cheeks again, don't be ashamed. Smile through them. Those tears are heaven's language proof that God is near, that healing is happening, and that the story is being rewritten. If this message resonates deep in your heart, if you know your tears have been carrying purpose all along, then let heaven hear your faith. Comment 888 below as a prophetic act, declaring, "My tears are birthing restoration." Let it be your way of saying, "I understand now, my pain was never wasted." When you comment 888, you are not typing a number, you are speaking a mystery. In heaven's language, it symbolizes new creation and divine completion. You are declaring that what was once broken is now being rebuilt, that restoration has begun, and that your tears have found holy purpose in God's design. Each time you write 888, you seal your faith in the unseen. You're saying, "Lord, I agree with your timing. I receive the healing my family needs." It's not superstition, it's spiritual alignment. That number becomes your amen, a simple digital act that heaven translates into eternal transformation. The air around the table feels different now. Chosen one. The same place that once held cold silence now hums with a strange stillness, holy, heavy, and gentle. It's as though heaven itself has taken a seat among your family, quietly rearranging the atmosphere without saying a word. You don't have to explain what's happening. It's being felt. Hearts that were guarded are softening. Eyes that once rolled in disbelief now lower in humility. Conversations are no longer casual, they're sacred. When heaven confronts the family table, it doesn't come with thunder or lightning. It comes in quiet conviction. The invisible becomes undeniable. The Holy Spirit moves like a breeze, soft, unseen, but impossible to resist. You notice the subtle shifts, a sigh instead of an argument, an apology instead of accusation, a gentle glance instead of avoidance. Heaven has entered the house, and you, chosen one, sit there in awe. You remember the years when this table was a battlefield, voices raised, hearts shut, every word misunderstood. But now there is peace. It's fragile, yes, but it's real. You can almost feel God's hand resting on the surface, steadying what once trembled. This is not ordinary reconciliation, it is divine surgery. God is cutting deep wounds open so they can finally heal. The Spirit is pulling buried truths to the surface, not to shame, but to cleanse. The tension that fills the air isn't hostility, it's healing, stretching its wings. Every uncomfortable pause is a sacred invitation to speak truth in love. Your family begins to talk about things they never dared to before. Hidden hurts, long-ignored memories, unspoken forgiveness, all of it begins to rise like dust caught in a ray of sunlight. No one is raising their voice, but hearts are speaking louder than words. It feels strange at first, doesn't it? To see the same faces that once wounded you now showing vulnerability. You catch yourself hesitating to believe it's real, but the Spirit whispers, "It is." You don't need to analyze or question, just breathe, just listen. You are standing in the middle of a miracle that moves slower than sound. For a moment, you almost see it, the invisible world overlapping with the physical. The room glows with unseen light. Angels stand near the corners, watching, recording, guarding. The sound of forgiveness carries weight in the unseen. Every word of truth spoken here echoes in heaven. Sometimes reconciliation doesn't look like hugging and laughing right away. Sometimes it looks like long pauses, trembling voices, and eyes that can't meet yet. That's okay. God works in layers. Healing isn't always loud. It's steady, like the tide returning after years of drought. You don't need to force it, just remain still. The grace that started this moment will sustain it. Even silence can be sacred when hearts are soft. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, verse 1. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. You, chosen one, are now learning to master the power of gentleness. It's not weakness, it's spiritual strength under divine control. The same tongue that could have defended itself is now guided by peace. You've learned that not every truth needs shouting. Some truths heal best when whispered. What's happening at this table is bigger than reconciliation. It's restoration of spiritual order. You're not just mending relationships, you're restoring alignment in your lineage. Heaven is rewriting your family's story through small moments like this one. Notice how time slows down here. Every heartbeat feels sacred. You sense the Holy Spirit breathing through each word, weaving threads of grace into the tapestry of your bloodline. This is what divine intervention looks like, not always fireworks. Sometimes just quiet tears and slow healing. And as you sit there, you realize something profound. The table itself has become an altar. Every word of forgiveness is an offering. Every sigh of surrender is incense. Every tear that falls onto that wooden surface is water for seeds of new beginnings. There's beauty in this simplicity. No grand gestures, no dramatic scenes, just raw humanity being touched by divine love. You can feel God's smile in the silence, His approval in the peace that settles after truth is spoken. Later, when the table is cleared and the house grows quiet again, you'll look back and realize that this was the turning point. It wasn't the loud moments or the miracles that changed everything. It was this quiet conversation where hearts met under heaven's gaze. And you'll know beyond doubt that when God enters a room, even familiar walls become holy ground. When everyone leaves the table, a strange peace remains. Like perfume after worship, you sense heaven's lingering presence in the air, gentle yet firm, sealing what was spoken. Angels don't always shout, they wait, ensuring every word of forgiveness takes root before departing with quiet satisfaction. Later that night, as you lie in silence, memories replay not in pain, but in gratitude. You realize the war is over. What once broke you now blesses you. Heaven didn't just visit your family, it settled there, weaving unseen threads of grace through every heart. They finally admit it. Chosen one, the words you thought you would never hear have been spoken, not perfectly, not eloquently, but sincerely. We see it now. 3 simple words, yet they carry the weight of years. Years of doubt, misunderstanding, distance, and pain. Years when you prayed in secret for this very moment, unsure if it would ever come. Now it has. The confession does not come with fanfare. It arrives quietly, trembling on the lips of those who once questioned everything about you. And though the words are small, the spiritual sound they make is thunder in heaven. This is the fruit of your endurance. What once looked like foolishness now stands revealed as faith. What once seemed like isolation now glows as divine preparation. Their eyes tell the story before their mouths can. You see it, the humility, the realization, the silent regret. Some of them are not ready to say it aloud, but the look in their eyes says enough. They finally understand. The same presence that once made them uncomfortable now brings them peace. They sense that God was with you all along. It's strange, isn't it? You didn't change to gain their acceptance. You didn't beg for validation or force them to believe. You simply kept walking in obedience, kept shining even when they didn't notice. That is what broke through. Not arguments, not explanations, just consistency. The steady light of truth has a way of softening even the hardest hearts. Now they begin to ask questions, not in skepticism, but in wonder. They ask how you stayed so calm, how you kept faith when everything looked hopeless. They want to know where your strength came from, and you know the answer. It came from the same one who carried you through rejection. You don't boast. You don't say, "I told you so." You smile softly and let grace speak. You let your peace do the explaining. This moment is not about being proven right. It's about redemption. The truth is, their confession was not born from guilt. It was born from revelation. The veil that once covered their eyes has been lifted. They see now that what they dismissed as stubborn faith was actually spiritual vision. The same voice of God you heard and followed is now whispering to them too. You feel compassion rise in you, not pride, not revenge, but genuine love. Because now you understand the purpose behind their blindness. God allowed it so that when the revelation came, it would humble them completely. Their confession is not just about you, it's about their awakening. And as tears form in their eyes, something holy happens. The cycle breaks. The heaviness that sat between you begins to lift. Unspoken apologies start to fill the air. The energy changes from tension to tenderness, from distance to closeness. You realize something powerful in that moment. Vindication is not about winning, it's about healing. True vindication is when hearts are restored, not when egos are satisfied. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 31, verse 16, saying, "Restrain your voice from weeping and your eyes from tears, for your work will be rewarded, declares the Lord." And now, you see that reward not in material things, but in the softening of hearts, in the restoration of love. Your years of quiet faithfulness have become the evidence of God's faithfulness. Even now, as they speak to you, the Holy Spirit moves gently among you all. You sense that this moment is not the end, it is a beginning. This confession opens the door for what heaven wants to do next. They may never fully understand everything you went through, and that's okay. They don't need to. What matters is that they now know the truth. God's hand has always been on you. You were never driven by pride, but by purpose. You were never strange, you were chosen. And though you feel the relief of being seen, there's a new kind of responsibility resting on your shoulders now. The same family that once doubted you will now look to you for guidance. They will seek comfort in your words, wisdom in your silence, and strength in your peace. You are not just the chosen one for yourself, you are chosen for them. You were the bridge heaven built long before they even realized there was a river to cross. So, breathe deeply. Let grace stay in your tone, tenderness in your heart. Don't rush the process. Some revelations bloom slowly, and that's all right. You are now a living testimony of patience rewarded. They finally see it, and though their words may be few, heaven records everyone. The confession itself is a key that unlocks reconciliation. And in the quiet that follows, you realize this is what you were waiting for. Not applause, not praise, just truth. Truth spoken freely, truth born from awakening. Now the room feels lighter, the air clearer. You don't need to say much. You simply smile, feeling the peace of completion resting in your soul. There's a stirring deep in your spirit now, chosen one. The air feels charged again, but this time it's not confrontation, it's confirmation. You can feel heaven urging you to speak, not in defense, but in declaration. The moment for silence has passed. Now comes the moment to affirm what God has done. You've held your peace long enough. You've let love lead the way, and it has softened even the hardest hearts. But now the Spirit presses on you to open your mouth to speak life, to bless what has begun, to release words that will seal the healing. Because sometimes, silence prepares the ground, but speech plants the seed. This is not about preaching or persuading, it's about declaring what heaven has already done. When you speak with faith, you give sound to the unseen. You announce to both heaven and earth that reconciliation is real and redemption is here. Your words carry weight now. They are no longer born from pain, but from power. When you say peace, heaven agrees. When you say forgiveness, chains loosen. When you speak blessing, generations are changed. God is showing you that the same mouth that once cried in pain now carries creative authority. You have learned to speak differently, no longer reacting to hurt, but responding from healing. That is divine maturity. You notice something beautiful. Your family listens now. They don't interrupt. They don't resist. They are hungry for what you carry. The same voice they once ignored now holds their attention, because they recognize that something greater speaks through you. This is what happens when you speak from the Spirit, not from the flesh. Even your tone has changed. You no longer sound defensive, you sound peaceful. You speak with a calm certainty that doesn't need to prove anything. You're not trying to win arguments. You're releasing truth that wins hearts. The room becomes a sanctuary again. Every word you speak feels guided. Every sentence seems to land softly, like rain on dry soil. You see tears again, but these are tears of relief, not regret. The power of love spoken aloud is transforming the atmosphere right before your eyes. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 37, "For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned." Chosen one, your words are now instruments of justification. You are using them to build bridges instead of walls, to open doors instead of closing them. You've learned that your voice is a weapon, but its greatest strength is mercy. This is what heaven has been preparing you for, to speak blessings over the same people who once misunderstood you, to become the sound of grace in your own household. Your voice carries healing now, not hurt. And when you speak, heaven echoes. Even the walls of your home seem to listen. It's as if the very air has been waiting for you to release this sound, the sound of peace. The words you speak today will echo through generations. They will break patterns of bitterness and plant seeds of understanding. This is the moment to release it all, to speak forgiveness freely, to call forth new beginnings, to let your words become vessels of divine love. And as you do, heaven smiles. Because when you bless those who once hurt you, you look most like the Father. So breathe in, open your mouth, and let truth flow. Speak as one who has seen God's faithfulness firsthand. Your words are not just sounds, they are spiritual assignments. You are no longer speaking to them, you are speaking through them, allowing God's heart to touch what human hands never could. And when the moment feels right, let heaven hear your agreement. Declare that you receive and release this peace. Comment, "I speak life." Those 3 words are not just a phrase, they are a decree. By typing them, you are joining heaven's conversation, saying, "My mouth will be used for healing, not harm. My voice will bring unity, not division." Let this be your seal of faith, the digital echo of a spiritual declaration that shifts atmospheres far beyond your screen. When you write, "I speak life," you are doing more than typing, you are breathing spirit into the moment. Heaven recognizes that phrase as a divine agreement, a signature of your faith. You're declaring that your words will create, not destroy, that your mouth will be an altar, not a weapon, moving only with love. Every time you say, "I speak life," light responds. Angels carry those words like seeds into unseen soil, planting peace where chaos once lived. It's not about who hears you online, it's about who hears you in the spirit. Your agreement tells heaven, use my voice to build, not to break. So pause for a moment. Let those words settle. Feel their echo ripple through you. I speak life becomes a rhythm of grace pulsing in your chest, rewriting how you see, think, and respond. It is the sound of transformation, proof that your heart has chosen resurrection over resentment. It's happening. Chosen one. The long-awaited turnaround, the same name that once echoed through whispers now moves through rooms with reverence. Where gossip once spread, testimony now travels. You can feel it in the air, the story is shifted. God has taken what was meant for your embarrassment and transformed it into evidence of His mercy. There's a softness in how they speak about you now. The bitterness has melted, the harshness dissolved. Even those who once turned away find themselves telling others about your strength, your endurance, your grace. They might not call it divine intervention, but their hearts know it was never luck. It was God. And yet this moment isn't about pride. It's not about being celebrated. It's about being seen as a living testimony of faithfulness. You've become a quiet miracle in motion, a letter written by heaven for others to read. Every trial you survived, every tear you shed, every time you forgave when it hurt, these have all become chapters of redemption. Your story is now public redemption. Where once your name was spoken in mockery, it is now spoken with admiration. People see the peace that never left your eyes, the calm that never broke in storms, and they want to know where it came from. That's when they encounter Him through you. As the Apostle Paul once wrote in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 3, verse 3, "You are a letter from Christ, written not with ink, but with the Spirit of the living God, not on tablets of stone, but on tablets of human hearts." You are that living letter, chosen one. Your life preaches without words. Every healed scar, every patient answer, every silent act of kindness, they are sermons wrapped in humanity. You are proof that light still wins, but as your story shines brighter. Remember this, every light needs fuel. Every flame, no matter how holy, still needs oil. That's why heaven always surrounds the anointed with others who help keep the lamp burning. If this message stirs something inside you, if you feel the glow of peace, hope, or renewal, consider how you might help keep that flame alive. When you like, share, or subscribe, you are not promoting a page, you are spreading a message of healing to someone who may be sitting in the same darkness you once knew. Think of it as lighting another candle. You hold fire in your hands now. When you share, you multiply the light. A single spark can awaken a forest of souls. And for those who feel called deeper, some feel led to give, not out of pressure, but out of gratitude. It's never about an amount, it's about the intention behind it. Imagine placing a single drop of oil into a lamp that burns through the night for someone you'll never meet. That's what your support does. It keeps hope visible for those still wandering. Giving isn't about charity, it's about participation. You're saying, let this light reach further than my screen. Whether it's a small seed or a great one, heaven sees the heart that offers. No act of generosity goes unnoticed. It all becomes part of the eternal echo of love. You are free to give, free to share, free to stand still and simply receive. Each is holy in its own way. Nothing is demanded here. This is not a transaction. It's an invitation, like holding hands around a flame and saying, together, we'll make sure it never goes out. If you've ever been touched by one of these words, you already know how powerful a single moment of encouragement can be. There's someone out there right now, tired, unseen, ready to quit, who might stumble upon this message because you decided to share it. You never know how far one act of kindness travels. So if your heart says yes, Follow that whisper. Let your like be a spark. Let your share be a torch passed forward. Let your subscription be a step deeper into the community of light. And if you feel the nudge to support, let your donation be the oil that keeps this lamp glowing long into the night. Everything done from love becomes immortal. Every gift offered freely becomes a bridge that heaven walks across to reach someone else. Chosen one, you've seen what God can do through your story. Now imagine what He can do through your generosity, through every simple, genuine act that says, "Let the light go on." This isn't obligation, it's worship, not with songs, but with choices. Every heart that joins in becomes part of the melody, a harmony of grace echoing across the earth. Before you go, take a breath and look at what's already changing. You were once the story of rejection, now you are the story of redemption. The light in you has become contagious. Like this message to let heaven know it touched you. Share it so another heart can be lifted. So subscribe to walk alongside this growing circle of light. And if you feel led, donate not because you must, but because you want to see the flame keep shining. You are no longer the whispered name, you are the witness. Your light is proof that love never fails. The night grows quiet again. Chosen one, and you find yourself reflecting on everything that has unfolded. You think about the burden you once carried alone, the invisible weight pressing on your heart when no one believed in your calling. It was heavy, suffocating at times, and yet it became the very place where your strength was born. People saw only the surface of your struggle, but God saw the warfare beneath it. They saw your silence as surrender, your tears as weakness, your distance as pride. But heaven saw something entirely different. Heaven saw intercession. Heaven saw endurance. Heaven saw a soldier standing in the middle of a storm, refusing to let go of faith even when lightning struck all around. You didn't know then that your pain was preparation. Every sleepless night was training for compassion. Every rejection was shaping your resilience. You weren't just surviving, you were being strengthened to carry the very ones who misunderstood you. That's the mystery of divine purpose. The burden becomes the blessing when it's surrendered. You've been the quiet pillar in your family, the unseen stabilizer. When everyone else fell apart, you were the one holding the invisible thread together. When tempers flared, you stayed calm. When words cut deep, you prayed instead of retaliating. You've been the keeper of peace in places where peace didn't seem possible. And yes, it's been lonely. The burden of being chosen often is. Sometimes you looked at others and wondered why they could live carefree while you felt the constant pull of spiritual responsibility. You tried to blend in, to forget the calling. But something inside refused to quiet. You were never meant to rest while others wept. You were sent to stand in the gap. Even when no one thanked you, heaven noticed. Every quiet prayer you whispered for others, every unseen act of forgiveness, every time you bit your tongue to protect someone's dignity, it all registered in eternity. Nothing done in love is ever wasted. The Word of God declares in the book of Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap, if we do not give up." You didn't give up. That's why you're seeing the change now. You're reaping what tears planted. The very people who once wounded you are now receiving life through the patience that pain produced in you. You became their bridge back to God without even realizing it. Still, it's not easy carrying this much grace. Sometimes it feels unfair that the one who endures most must also forgive most. But that's the nature of divine love. It costs something. It demands more from those who carry heaven's heart. There are moments you still feel the old ache, the tiredness of always being the strong one, the silent one, the forgiving one. You may wonder, Who prays for me, who holds me up? But even then, God reminds you gently, I do. Every time you've fallen to your knees and said, I can't do this anymore, the Spirit has whispered, you don't have to. I'm doing it through you. That's how you've kept going, not by your power, but by His presence. Look how far you've come. The same wounds that once made you hide now shine like windows for others to see through. The scars on your spirit are no longer reminders of pain, they're proof of survival. Proof of grace. You carry wisdom now, the kind that cannot be taught in books or sermons, only learned through endurance. And quietly, you've become a refuge. Without realizing it, others now come to you for peace. They call when their world falls apart because they know you've walked through storms and still found light. That's the hidden ministry of those who carry divine burdens. You become the calm after others' chaos. You didn't just endure your pain, you transformed it into purpose. Every wound became a doorway through which compassion could enter. Every loss became a language that helps you comfort those who are still learning how to hope. Sometimes you'll still feel the weight of that calling, and that's okay. Don't mistake weariness for weakness. Even Jesus carried His cross before the glory came. You are walking the same pattern: pain first, then power, burden first, then blessing. There will come a day when others finally understand the cost of your calm. They will realize the price you paid to keep the peace that now surrounds them. But even if they never do, heaven already has. Your name has been written in light, not because you shouted the loudest, but because you stayed faithful in silence. You didn't abandon your post. You didn't turn bitter. You chose love when revenge would have been easier. And now, God is entrusting you with even more. You've proven that you can carry the weight of grace. The burden that once bowed you down has now become your crown. You are no longer just surviving, you are standing, shining, and strengthening others simply by being who you are. So rest tonight, chosen one. Let heaven hold the burden for a while. You've done enough worrying, enough carrying. The one who called you will sustain you. He always has. Something sacred is taking root in you now, chosen one. It's quiet but powerful, like dawn before sunrise. You feel lighter, don't you? The heaviness that once pressed on your chest has turned into peace. It's not that your circumstances have suddenly changed, it's that you've become new. This newness isn't loud. It hums beneath your skin like gentle electricity. You wake up with gratitude instead of grief, purpose instead of panic. Even when small challenges appear, they no longer shake you. You've been refined. What used to wound you now only reminds you that you survived. You can sense that heaven has closed one chapter and opened another. The season of confusion has ended. You're stepping into clarity where your steps are ordered, your vision sharpened, your spirit aligned. You are walking in rhythm with heaven's heartbeat. This is not coincidence, it is divine timing. The same God who guided you through the valley is now calling you into a garden. A new cycle begins, one of restoration, creativity, and renewal. Every number has meaning in heaven's design, and this season carries one of completion and birth at once, a paradox only God can write. The old things are no longer clinging to you. They've fallen away like leaves in autumn. You're lighter because you were never meant to carry dead weight into destiny. Your tears have watered something new in your life. They have become the rain that nourishes future joy. Those you once wept for will one day thank you for not giving up on them. Heaven saw every drop, and now it releases the fruit. You feel a new energy stirring in your family too. Conversations that were once difficult are now gentle. Doors that were locked tight are opening again. The same atmosphere that once carried tension now carries tenderness. God is finishing what he started. We find in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 5, "He who was seated on the throne said, 'Behold, I am making all things new.' Chosen one, this is your verse alive in motion. All things new, not some. All your identity, your purpose, your peace, it's all being restored. The old fear that used to whisper in your mind can no longer find a home there. You've outgrown it. Heaven is now establishing something permanent where pain once lived. You're not simply healing, you're being rebuilt. Your faith has become foundation stone. Your love the structure. Your endurance the roof. God is building something through you that will shelter generations. This is the moment to breathe deeply and let the light in. Don't rush. Let the warmth of divine renewal fill the corners of your soul that were once cold. Everything around you begins to respond to this transformation. You notice it in small details, the way people speak softer to you, the way nature seems to greet you, the way your own laughter sounds freer. The world feels different because you are different. And yet, beneath the joy, there's still reverence. You understand now that renewal isn't about forgetting what was, it's about blessing it. Every scar has become sacred, every memory part of the mosaic that makes you whole. The spirit inside you hums with the number of new beginnings. You feel heaven whispering it is done. Now, begin again. Chosen one, this number represents the cycle of divine rebirth, the rhythm of endings giving way to beginnings. It is the sound of heaven declaring, start fresh. So as you stand in this season of newness, make your declaration. Let heaven see your agreement. Let earth record your faith. Comment 9999 below as a prophetic act, declaring, I step into my new beginning. Those 4 nines are not mere digits, they are a spiritual symbol of completion meeting rebirth, of closure kissed by creation. You are not starting over, you are starting higher. When you write 99999, you are signing your name to heaven's decree that says, the old is done, and I am ready for what's next. It's more than a comment, it's covenant language. This is the moment. Chosen one. The door has opened, or the light has shifted. Step into it fully. When you comment 999, you are not just pressing keys, you are releasing a declaration into eternity. In heaven's rhythm, this number symbolizes completion wrapped in creation, the sacred cycle where something ends only to begin again in greater glory. You're saying, the door behind me is closed, and the dawn ahead is opened. It's your spiritual signature that tells heaven, I am ready to live in alignment, ready to walk in what you've prepared. Each time you type 9999, heaven reads it as agreement, angels read it as instruction, and your soul reads it as permission to breathe freely again. You're not trapped by what was, you're crowned by what's coming. This small act is a living prayer in digital form, a way of sowing your yes into sacred soil. You are proclaiming, my old season served me, but my new one will define me. It's not the end, it's your holy beginning, but not everyone will rejoice. Chosen one. Even as peace fills your home and truth heals your family, something begins to stir in the unseen. The spiritual realm shifts when light expands and darkness never yields quietly. You can feel it, an invisible resistance pressing against your progress. The air feels thicker, heavier. It's not fear, it's awareness. You've entered a new level, and with every level comes a new battle. Don't be alarmed. The opposition isn't a sign of failure, it's confirmation of impact. When light shines brighter, shadows become clearer. You are witnessing the spiritual war that always surrounded you, only now. Your eyes are open to it. The same voices that once spoke peace will sometimes tremble with doubt. Old memories may resurface, trying to remind you of who you used to be. But don't fall for it. These are echoes of defeated battles, not new ones. Darkness has always feared those who walk in clarity. It thrives in confusion, but you no longer dwell there. You are too grounded in truth, too steady in purpose. You know now that this isn't just about feelings, it's about frequencies. Every thought, every word, every action carries sound into the unseen. When you speak peace, heaven hears harmony. When you doubt, the shadows listen for an opening. That's why God has been training you all along. Every silent prayer, every lonely night, every act of restraint was preparation for this. You are not fragile, you are fortified. Your peace has weight now, it's armor. Your forgiveness has become your sword. You've been armed without even realizing it. The spiritual war behind the tears was never about people. It was about inheritance. The enemy wasn't fighting you because of your past, but because of your future. He saw the change before you did. He saw the day your family would awaken, the day your words would heal, the day your presence would carry light. And he tried again and again to wear you down before you reached this point. But here you are. Now, when you walk into a room, the unseen world shifts. Old patterns break. Generational heaviness lifts. Demonic whispers grow faint because your presence carries authority. You don't need to shout, to perform, or to prove. The spirit inside you speaks louder than any voice around you. You are the calm in the storm, not because the storm has ended, but because you learn to carry peace through it. You begin to notice moments where tension rises suddenly. Arguments threaten to form, or confusion tries to re-enter your space. That's not coincidence, it's strategy. The darkness is testing boundaries, hoping you'll forget who you are. But now, instead of reacting, you remember. You remember the silence that once shaped your strength. You remember the tears that turned into oil. You remember that every time you chose peace, heaven won. And so, you smile instead of snapping. You breathe instead of breaking. You whisper a prayer under your breath instead of letting fear dictate your tone. The same spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives in you. And that means every battle you face is already won. You just have to walk in that victory. As the ancient words recorded in Romans 8, chapter 8, verse 31 declare, if God is for us, who can be against us? That question is not a challenge. It's a reminder. It reminds you that nothing, no jealousy, no curse, no unseen whisper can stand against a soul aligned with heaven. You've become a fortress, not through pride, but through peace. But still, you must stay alert. Peace doesn't mean passivity. It means authority under control. The enemy may try subtle tactics, distraction, weariness, even nostalgia for your old self. But you've learned to recognize the difference between a feeling and an assignment. When heaviness comes, you no longer call it me. You call it what it is, an intrusion, and you send it away with light. You've learned to guard your energy like sacred oil. You no longer let everyone touch it. You've learned to protect your joy, your boundaries, your focus, not because you're selfish, but because you understand stewardship. You cannot heal the world by draining yourself empty. You must pour only from overflow. And though the war continues in subtle ways, you're not afraid of it anymore. The battlefield no longer feels like chaos, it feels like choreography. Every challenge moves you closer to mastery. Every resistance only reveals more of your strength. You are not fighting for victory, you are enforcing it. Even now, heaven watches proudly. The same angels that guarded your isolation now stand beside your influence. They marvel not at your perfection, but at your perseverance. You refused to break, and that refusal became your roar. So don't fear the spiritual war behind the tears. It is proof that you matter. It is confirmation that your light carries consequence. You were chosen not to escape darkness, but to outshine it. And every time you choose peace over panic, forgiveness over fury, and truth over noise, you win another silent battle. You are no longer just surviving warfare, you are redefining it. The battlefield bows to your calm, and the darkness now trembles at your stillness. It's different now. Chosen one. You walk into rooms and feel the quiet tension before a word is spoken. You sense the shift in eyes, the unease in energy, the hesitation that fills the air. Your light is no longer something small, it's commanding, undeniable, and confronting. You used to wonder why people reacted strangely around you. Now you understand it's not personal, it's spiritual. Your presence exposes what people thought they had buried. Without saying a word, you bring truth to the surface. Some will be drawn to it. Like moths to flame, others will shy away, unable to stand in that clarity. That's what light does, it reveals. It comforts those who love truth and unsettles those who hide from it. This is the part of being chosen that no one tells you about. Your light confronts their shadows. It isn't because you're judging them. It's because your very existence is a reminder that there's more. You live differently, think differently, carry yourself with a grace they cannot imitate. It makes them question their own reflection. Sometimes you'll notice conversations stop when you walk in. Laughter fades, people glance, shift, or look down. You might feel the sting of isolation again, but don't mistake it for rejection, it's reverence. The spirit inside you makes pretenses uncomfortable. It's not you they resist, it's the truth you carry. You don't even have to speak for conviction to fill the space. Your calm exposes chaos. Your patience reveals immaturity. Your peace disrupts confusion. You are no longer just a witness to transformation, you've become a living mirror through which others see their own need for it. This is holy confrontation. It's not loud or aggressive, it's silent and deep. It's the way your eyes seem to look through masks, the way your words cut softly but precisely, the way your love feels like both balm and blade. As Jesus said in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 5, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." And so it is with you. Chosen one. Your light shines not because you strive, but because you've surrendered. It isn't effort, it's essence. You no longer need to prove anything. You simply are. That is what unsettles the darkness most when light no longer tries. It simply exists. There will be moments when others misinterpret your quietness as arrogance, your confidence as distance. Don't explain yourself. Let your fruit speak. Over time, truth always reveals motive. Those who carry discernment will recognize what you carry. Those who resist it are not ready yet. Both responses are part of the divine order. You are not responsible for who receives your light. You are only responsible for keeping it lit. The rest belongs to God. Some will love you deeply and still not understand you. Others will misunderstand you and still be transformed by your example. Grace will flow through both. This is why humility must be your constant companion. The brighter the light, the gentler the spirit must be. Remember, light without love becomes lightning. It strikes but doesn't heal. You were not called to scorch, you were called to shine. Keep walking in compassion, even when their reactions hurt. Every eye that avoids you is one step closer to awakening. They will remember your calm, your patience, your consistency. Long after the tension fades, they'll feel the imprint of your peace. That's how transformation begins quietly, secretly, deeply. It's okay to feel the weight of being different. It's okay to feel misunderstood even after healing has begun. That's the paradox of the chosen, loved by heaven, misread by earth. You are both comfort and conviction, and that duality is divine. The darkness will sometimes try to whisper again, reminding you of loneliness, trying to make you shrink back. Don't. The light is not a weapon of pride, it's a ministry of presence. Even silence is sacred when you carry heaven within you. You've learned to let people reveal themselves without reacting. The truth always exposes itself under light. You just keep walking, glowing quietly, being what God made you to be. And little by little, something beautiful happens. The same ones who once flinched begin to relax around you. They find peace instead of discomfort. The confrontation turns into communion. The shadows don't vanish immediately, they bow slowly, surrendering to the steady persistence of grace. That's the power of divine endurance. It doesn't demand, it transforms. It doesn't force change, it inspires it. You're showing the world that holiness doesn't shout, it shines. You are the reminder that God still walks among people through love, through truth, through peace. You are proof that spiritual authority can wear humility like a crown. So keep walking in the light, chosen one. Some will flee from it, some will follow it, but none will forget it. Because real light leaves residue, it lingers long after you've gone. And where your feet tread, darkness will never reign the same again. It has been a long road. Chosen one. You've walked through misunderstanding, rejection, and revelation. You've seen tears turn to transformation and pain turn to peace. And now, standing in this place of clarity, you realize something profound. The battle was never about survival, it was about inheritance. Heaven has always been shaping you to become a vessel that carries light across generations. Look around your life now. There's peace where chaos once lived. There's purpose where confusion used to reign. You are no longer walking through broken pieces, you are walking on holy ground. Everything you went through wasn't to destroy you, but to awaken you. You've become the message you once needed to hear. And this message, chosen one, is not meant to end with you. The light inside you was never designed for containment, it was meant for continuation. Think of it like a river that never stops flowing. When it reaches the end of one valley, it finds another to water. You are that river, Toan, and somewhere out there are hearts still waiting for the sound of your current. That's what this space, this community, this message truly is, a flowing river of light. Each word is a ripple that touches souls who might never cross your path physically but will feel your presence spiritually. You may not realize it, but you've already become part of something much larger than yourself. And just as rivers need streams to keep their flow alive, this light needs hearts to carry it further. That's where your small acts of love become divine echoes. As Paul wrote to the Philippians, chapter 1, verse 6. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. That good work isn't just in you, it's through you. Every time you respond with kindness, every time you share truth, every time you help sustain the message, you become part of the completion of God's plan in another person's life. Think of this like a garden. Every like is a drop of water. Every share is a breeze carrying seeds farther than you could reach. Every comment is a note of gratitude sung back to heaven, your way of saying, I heard, I felt, I'm alive again. Every donation is soil rich with nutrients, ensuring the roots go deep, and every subscription is the gardener's promise to return and nurture what's growing. You don't have to do everything, just do what peace whispers. Give only when it feels like breathing, effortless, joyful, sincere. Let your actions flow from love, not duty. That's what makes them holy. The beauty of light is that it never competes. It simply expands. And right now, heaven invites you to be part of that expansion, not through pressure, but through purpose. The story that healed you could be the same story that saves someone else. So, if your heart stirs, follow that whisper. Let your interaction, whatever form it takes, be an act of worship. Let your generosity, your engagement, your presence be the wind that carries this message farther into the world. Because this isn't about one voice, it's about many hearts choosing to shine together. Before you leave, pause. Feel the warmth in your chest. That's the Spirit saying, you are light. Whether you like, share, comment, subscribe, or give, you are pouring light into a world still learning to see. Let every click, every gesture, every prayer be a candle placed gently on the altar of humanity. The light that saved you is asking only to keep burning through you. Each gesture you make, each like, each share, each moment you pause to comment or reflect is more than a digital act. It's an echo of love, rippling through unseen spaces. Somewhere, a weary soul might stumble across this light because you decided to keep it burning just a little longer. When you subscribe, you're not joining a channel, you're joining a chorus. Every message that flows into your feed becomes another reminder that you're not alone, that heaven is still speaking in gentle ways. It's a rhythm of belonging, an ongoing melody that keeps faith alive inside your spirit. And when you choose to give, it's never about obligation, it's about overflow. It's your way of saying, let this light reach farther than I can. That offering becomes oil in a lamp that will guide others home long after your screen goes dark for the night. So, beloved chosen one, keep that lamp close. Guard its glow. Your small acts, your quiet yes, your willingness to share hope, they are sacred threads in the tapestry of redemption. The world grows softer every time your light touches another heart. Keep shining, for heaven watches through your hands. And when all is still, remember this: every spark you've released will return as warmth when you need it most. Nothing given in love disappears. It circles back as grace. The same light you shared today will one day find you again, whispering. You kept the flame alive. Forgiveness. The word hangs in the air, heavy but holy. You've spoken it before, perhaps even thought you had lived it, but this time feels different. This time, it isn't just words, it's release. It's as though heaven has placed its hand on your chest, gently pressing until the tightness begins to loosen. The pain that used to feel like a chain now feels like a lesson. Chosen one, this is your crown of reconciliation. Not made of gold or jewels, but of mercy woven through pain. It shines with quiet glory, the kind that only comes from choosing love when anger would have been easier. You wear it invisibly, but the world feels its warmth. Forgiveness doesn't mean you forget the wound. It means the wound no longer controls your story. You remember, but you remember differently. The memory no longer bleeds, it teaches. The ache no longer imprisons, it refines. This is divine alchemy, where suffering becomes wisdom and pain becomes peace. You look back at those who hurt you and realize something profound: they were never the true enemy. They were instruments, unknowing ones, through which your spirit was trained for endurance. If they had treated you perfectly, your faith would have stayed shallow. If they had understood you fully, your compassion would never have deepened. The very pain they caused became the soil where your purpose grew roots. Now you can finally see the pattern: nothing wasted, nothing random. The betrayals taught you boundaries. The misunderstandings taught you patience. The rejection taught you acceptance from God, not man. Every heartbreak was heaven's classroom, and you, though bruised, graduated in grace. There's power in releasing those who never apologized. It's not weakness, it's spiritual mastery. You are no longer tethered to their behavior. You walk free, unhooked from bitterness, untangled from revenge. Your freedom is your final response. And even if they never say sorry, heaven will. For every tear, for every silence, for every time you chose love over resentment, heaven will repay. The crown of reconciliation is not given to those who win arguments. It is given to those who win peace. You wear it quietly, not because you seek recognition, but because you've been recognized by God. As written in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 6, verse 37, "Forgive, and you will be forgiven. Give, and it will be given to you." Those words have become the rhythm of your heart now. You forgive, not to be saintly, but because it's the only way to stay whole. You give mercy, not because they deserve it, but because you refuse to carry poison in your veins. You release because holding on hurts too much. And when you forgive, something miraculous happens. The atmosphere shifts. The heaviness leaves. You feel lighter, almost weightless, as though invisible chains have fallen off. Even your body reacts, breath deeper, pulse slower, spirit calmer. Forgiveness heals in layers, not just the soul, but the flesh too. The people who once wounded you may never understand the magnitude of your grace. But that's not the point. Forgiveness isn't for their peace, it's for yours. You let them go. And in doing so, you return to yourself. The person you were before pain hardened you. The heart that still believes in goodness, still loves easily, still hopes fiercely. And in that surrender, heaven moves closer. You feel it, the soft whisper of divine approval brushing against your soul. God smiles through your tears because this is what love looks like in motion. Sometimes reconciliation won't mean relationship restored. Sometimes it will simply mean peace in your spirit while distance remains. Both are holy. Both are healing. You don't need to reopen every door. Some are meant to stay closed. But with flowers blooming on the other side, you've learned that true forgiveness isn't a single act, it's a way of life. It's the ability to keep your heart soft in a hard world. To keep blessing even when you could curse. To keep loving even when love is not returned. That's your strength now. That's your crown. And as you move forward, that forgiveness becomes your armor. Nothing sticks to a heart that's free. No accusation, no bitterness, no curse can cling to a spirit that lives in love. You are unshakable because you are undefiled. The greatest miracle isn't when someone changes because of your forgiveness, it's when you find peace even if they don't. That's divine victory, and that's freedom wrapped in grace. Chosen one, your story no longer smells like smoke, it smells like oil. The fire that tried to consume you only refined you. You're walking proof that love wins, always. So walk with your crown of reconciliation, quietly radiant. You owe no explanations and you carry no debts. You live lighter, love deeper, and forgive quicker because heaven taught you how. And when others look at you now, they won't see what you lost, they'll see what you gained: peace, purpose, and power that cannot be taken away. It's morning now. Chosen one. The light that slips through your window feels different, not blinding, but soft, like grace itself resting on your skin. The storm has passed. The house that once echoed with misunderstanding now hums with quiet harmony. The air feels lighter, cleaner, as though heaven has breathed through every corner. You take a deep breath and realize that peace doesn't always arrive with trumpets. Sometimes it tiptoes in after long nights of tears. This is what fulfillment feels like, not loud celebration, but stillness that sings. You don't need applause or recognition. You just need the knowing, that gentle certainty that you have completed what heaven asked of you. You were faithful in pain, patient in silence, merciful in truth. You've become the living answer to prayers whispered generations before you. Look around your family, your story, your heart. What once was broken has been touched by divine hands and mended stronger than before. The same people who once turned away now look at you with respect, maybe even awe. Not because you proved them wrong, but because you showed them what love really looks like when it refuses to quit. The home feels holy again. Conversations flow easily. Laughter returns like an old friend, and even the silence between words feels safe. You realize that what you carried wasn't just for you, it was for this moment. The burden that once felt unbearable has become the bridge. The tears that once blurred your vision have become the rain that nourished every new seed of connection. Heaven has done it quietly, but thoroughly. The prophecy has unfolded exactly as it was meant to, not in chaos, but in completion. Your endurance turned into evidence. Your obedience became a doorway through which blessings could enter. And now, you see purpose in everything. The rejection redirection, the pain preparation, the tears baptism. Every dark night was a divine setup for this morning of peace. You finally understand why you were chosen. It wasn't for status or recognition. It was because you had the strength to carry transformation through love. As the prophet Isaiah once wrote, chapter 61, verse 3, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. You wear that beauty now. It shines through your words, your silence, your presence. The same ashes that once covered you have become proof of the fire you survived. And what's more miraculous, you smell not of smoke, but of oil, the oil of joy, of wisdom, of peace. This is not the end of your story, but the beginning of a new rhythm, one where you walk lighter, speak softer, and love deeper. You no longer need validation because you carry revelation. You know who you are, not just a survivor, but a vessel. Not just a dreamer, but a doer. Not just one who believes, but one who embodies belief. Your role now is different. You no longer strive, you serve. You no longer chase, you cultivate. You no longer fight for peace, you carry it within. That's what maturity feels like, the absence of battle within the heart. Even when the world still trembles outside, the people around you begin to notice. Some may never say it aloud, but they sense it. They see the gentleness in your eyes, the unexplainable steadiness in your tone, the compassion that flows from your every action. That's how heaven speaks now through you. The same family that once misunderstood your fire now gathers around your flame. They warm themselves by the light that once frightened them. Your story becomes their shelter. Your growth becomes their guide. And though they may never use the words, you can feel their gratitude each time their eyes soften when they look at you. Chosen one. This is redemption fulfilled, not a spectacle, but a subtle, sacred restoration. You didn't just survive your family's story, you rewrote it. The very ground that once felt cursed now blooms with blessings. The same house that once echoed with tension now rings with laughter and healing. And as you stand in the doorway, watching sunlight stretch across the floor, you whisper a quiet thank you to God, to the journey, to the pain that turned to purpose. You realize that all along, you were never walking alone. Every unseen step was guided, every delay was divine timing, every heartbreak was heaven carving space for more love. This is destiny fulfilled, the family redeemed, the chosen one restored. You smile not because everything is perfect, but because everything is right. And as the day unfolds, a gentle breeze brushes your face, almost like heaven's final affirmation. You feel the peace of completion, not the noise of ending. The sun rises a little warmer. The air carries a little more promise. Every breath says, "You made it. You're whole. Beloved chosen one." Before this light fades from your screen, take one quiet moment. Let gratitude rise in your chest like dawn. You've walked through every word of this journey, through pain, revelation, and redemption, and now you stand where peace meets purpose. You are not the same person who began reading. Something inside you has awakened, and heaven smiles because of it. If this message stirred your spirit, let your heart respond in its own way. When you like, it's more than an action, it's your whisper to heaven saying, "I felt this. It touched me." When you share, it's like releasing a bird you've healed, letting it fly to another soul who needs the same comfort. You never know whose darkness your light will enter next. When you comment, think of it as adding a stone to an altar of gratitude. Your words become part of something larger, a chorus of voices declaring that love still heals, faith still works, and light still wins. And if your heart feels moved to subscribe, let it be your way of staying near the well, returning again and again to draw from this same living water that once found you thirsty. For those who feel led to give, do so gently and freely. Imagine it as pouring oil into a lamp that will keep burning through the night, guiding someone else home. There's no pressure here, only invitation and open hand, not an outstretched demand. What you give, even in small drops, becomes part of the endless river that carries hope forward. Your engagement, your presence, your generosity, all of it breathes life into this message. You are not just a listener now. You're a keeper of the flame. Together, we make sure the light never goes out.